Blake K, student number HS17001635, and this is my Resub to go over some of the criteria which I didn't quite get in my assignment for coaching A1. So I'm just going to get straight on with it. So I need to now go over some of the technique used by sports coaches to improve the performance of their athletes. So one of the techniques used by a coach is fitness assessments. This is to test different components of skill or health related fitness from an athlete, and to test it you can have multiple assessments, including the 12-minute Cooper run, the Harvard step test, the Illinois agility run, etc. The list goes on to test different components, including flexibility, cardiovascular endurance. You know how it goes from there. These tests are used to improve performance because you may see a direct correlation between their fitness assessments, their results that they score, if they were to do it, say, once a month, going up and improving, to then also their work rate in a match improving, or the amount of goals they score. Any sort of direct correlation, positive correlation, showing that as one improves, as does the other, whether it be the amount of goals they score, their amount of touches on the ball, etc. Just basically showing that one way of getting a person to perform better is to get them to do these fitness tests and improve their results in these tests, and then that in turn will cause them to perform better on match day. Along with this, you have goal setting. So setting a target which is achievable, realistic, and specific to each individual or the team. Doing that, whether it be in small things, personal targets, team targets, winning the match, being top scorer of the league, or simply putting in more effort, more of a psychological factor, just trying your hardest. So by setting these goals, it allows you to see whether the person can put in a greater amount of effort, etc., and reach the goals that have been set for them. And this may be a way of getting them to perform better, because they know what they're aiming for, and if they know what they're aiming for, they have something to work towards and they have a clear vision. Having effective demonstrations is another thing that can be used, another technique to get athletes to perform better. And this is just basically having someone do a role model example, whether it's getting the technique of how to perform a free kick, for an example. Just having someone do it correctly in front of them, that can, through visual learners, be a real aid in helping them to progress and see what they need to do and really then envision themselves doing it. So there's pros and cons to each. With the fitness assessments, the pros are it is likely to give accurate results of whether or not they're improving. The cons being, if someone's having an off day, then it may not fairly reflect what they're capable of, because everyone is an athlete and just an individual human. You do have days when you're going to perform better than others, so it may not be a fair reflection of what you're actually capable of. If you didn't sleep so well the night before, if you had a heavy meal before you've done it, there are a lot of factors that can impact your result. As far as goal setting, it can be a real positive, because it can give you something to work towards, which is really going to inspire some people, and also it's really clear whether or not you have met the target that's been set for you in most cases. In some instances, however, if the goal is unrealistic and cause the athlete to feel bad about themselves, and they're going to have negative emotions and a poor body image and just generally not feel on track and as if they're not good enough, which will negatively impact their performances. They're going to feel that they're no good because they haven't met the targets that have been set for them, and it may damage how they perform in the future. Demonstrations, they can be really useful because it can exactly show athletes what they need to do and how it needs to be done, and you can walk them through it. However, the disadvantage of demonstrations are at the elite level, people may think that they're too good and wouldn't take it seriously. They think they know better, so it's not really an effective way of getting them to perform. And this sort of leads me on to evaluating and comparing between different levels and the usefulness of each thing at a different level. So fitness assessments, I think at the elite level, are very important, as you can have the resources available to perform a variety of tests. You can have the time, you can have the coaching, you can have everything put in place, and you can do it on a regular basis. It's something that requires time and effort to be set up, but you have that available to you. So that's really, really good, and it's going to be helpful. And it also can talk coaches through how their players are doing and where they're lacking, what their strengths are, and whether or not they're improving, and if, say, they've put a fitness program into place, whether or not it's actually beneficial and coming out well and working. So I think that's crucial at the elite level, not so much at the lower levels, because fitness testing isn't necessarily the most important factor so much as just having fun or improving technical or tactical aspects of your game. Goal setting, I think, is really important at both levels, all levels, sorry, because it just allows any person, no matter where they are, to have something to work towards. If you're at the elite, it may be to be the top scorer in the Premier League. If you're at the lower level, it may just be to score a goal this game. It just gives everybody something to work towards and get a sense of pride once they've accomplished it, which is really important. And I think that this is a brilliant technique to allow people to develop and have something to work towards and know whether they've hit it, so they can see that they have improved and their performance is bettered because they're trying really hard to dig deep to get the goal that they've set themselves achieved. So they get that sense of pride and good feeling once they've done that. Demonstrations, I think, are certainly really important at the lower level, especially when you have younger people, children who maybe aren't quite as aware of the sport and what needs to be done. So having someone do it perfectly in front of them is really helpful for them to see and copy it, especially when you're younger and your mind's quite open and you're not stuck in your ways per se and thinking you know better and you want to learn. So seeing someone do it could just really think, I want to copy them, I want to be like that role model, I want to achieve what they've done. So it's really good to have a demonstration so that they have something to work towards and something to mirror so they can be like, oh, that was exactly like coaches, I've done well here, and that's going to help them improve. I don't think that this is a very good technique at the elite level because a lot of the time the players are just going to have been there, done that and think they know best. They're not going to take it seriously, they may be distracted, so it's not going to be a great way of doing it. For things such as a drill, to run it through is not a bad thing to have a demonstration just to clear up any misunderstanding of what needs to happen. But for things such as techniques, I don't think demonstrations are the best. Not that they wouldn't be useful, but they're not the best at the elite level because a lot of players will brush it off and not really acknowledge it and continue to do what they think is the correct way to do it. Thank you.